Hey guys, and welcome in or welcome back to my channel. So if you follow me on my other social media accounts, then you would have remembered I was telling you guys to send me your questions related to skincare, you know, specifically acne and oily skin, because I knew I was going to a boot camp with ROCHE-POSAY and they were going to have a dermatologist there who was answering questions, and you know, I wanted to come back and tell all of you the answers that she gave to your questions, and even some answers that, you know, you didn't ask about, but she answered, so I'm going to tell you them here. So first I'm just let you know like what I took the most away from that. Then I'm going to get into your questions, and then I'm going to let you know about some products that I'm a little interested in. We're going to see what's going on. So La Roche-Posay brought in a dermatologist. I'll leave her information right here somewhere on the screen, and she basically gave us, you know, a slideshow about acne, what causes it, things to prevent it. She answered some questions that we had, and what I took away the most is that she answered the question that will literally cause battles on Twitter. Like, there's a whole group named about this on Twitter. You know, you can find it. It's called Coconut Oil and Shea Butter Twitter. All right, those are the people who will swear to you that they use coconut oil, that it's fine for them. And then there are some people on Twitter, if you mention coconut oil when they ask for a recommendation on skincare, they will actually fight you. So I was actually quite intrigued when someone, you know, said, can I use it on my face? At her answer, she said, yes, you can use coconut oil. However, okay, there is a big however. And when she said her however, I thought of the people that I usually see saying, do not recommend coconut oil to me, and it kind of made sense there. She said coconut oil is, you know, a great moisturizer for your body. You know, she low-key beat around the bush about using it on your face, but she said she would absolutely not recommend using coconut oil on your face if you have oily skin, because that is an oil, you have oily skin, and once they connect, that's how you break out. So if you have oily, you know, acne prone skin, do not put coconut oil on your face. And then I started thinking about it, and you know, I myself, I'm not about to put coconut oil on my face. So I was like, I see how that makes sense, or I see why the people who are usually mad about coconut oil, you know, are mad about it, and the people who recommend coconut oil probably don't have oily skin. So there's your answer there on coconut oil. She told us about, you know, where acne breaks out, and you know, that can kind of help you figure out like what's going on with your face. Basically, if it's acne breaking out here in this area, and once again, I just want to point out that I'm literally just regurgitating what she said. I am not a professional. I'm not any of that type of stuff there. I'm literally just letting you know what she said. But y'all watch DIYs from people telling you to put, you know, hot Cheetos on your face as a mask. You can watch this, okay? Basically, if you have any type of breakout here along this area, that is more so hormonal breakouts. If you have redness and acne breakouts in the center of your face, that's more of rosacea. And then whiteheads and blackheads can form anywhere in this area here. I'm trying to think because I really want to get into the questions. If there was anything else big that I took away from it. I feel recently, you know, dairy has been something that everyone's talking about, and she said the dairy that studies are finding recently will break you out is low fat dairy, or you know, no fat type of dairy. So if you are going to drink dairy, I know a lot of you are not nowadays, then the dairy you should be drinking is whole milk dairy, because the other ones will cause acne. So the question I got the most is, how do you treat dark spots?
Dark spots from acne. Okay. So scars are one of the most difficult things to treat. There's different kinds of scars. There's the dark spot scars, and then there's the indented scars. The dark scars are a little bit easier to treat. Typically, there's several different approaches. There are ways to lighten with topical products. I would say maybe later on chemical peels, maybe lasers, but lasers can sometimes make things even darker, so it has to be the right laser. But in terms of the topical products, typically we use things that are have alpha hydroxy acids and glycolic acids. And La Roche-Posay makes a serum. There's other companies, but La Roche-Posay makes a really nice serum that has glycolic acid in there, which helps lighten those dark spots. It's something that usually has to be used for at least 8 to 12 weeks. And that's something that will kind of very gradually remove that pigment as a first step. It will remove the most superficial pigment. If the pigment is much deeper, you may have to do other interventions in the dermatologist's office or prescription lightening creams. Sunscreen, I don't want to forget, is probably the most important thing, because the sun is what's going to make them even deeper. Even when the acne and the pimples has dried out, it's left its mark. If you go out in the sun, it's going to keep getting darker and darker and darker. So in the morning, using a sunscreen, even your foundation, if it has sunscreen, even better to put a second layer on. And then at night, you would use the serum, which you can use, by the way, both times. So if it's something that's quite dark, you would use it twice a day. So you use the serum in the morning, typically glycolic acid-based or alpha hydroxy acid-based to lighten it. And then another one that I really like is Mela-D. It's another product. It's another type of an acid that's used to lighten. And that's something that you could combine with a glycolic acid. So you could do a glycolic and then a Mela-D the other time of the day. And sunscreen is the most important. So different lightening agents that you would start with over the counter. And if that's not enough, then seeing a dermatologist for either a prescription cream. The danger with prescription creams is that you really have to put them exactly in the dark spot, because if you put it on your normal skin, it can lighten that. And it's the last thing you want. So always I would start with the milder over-the-counter stuff first, and then move up to the prescription and perhaps chemical peels and other treatments.
Now, a lot of people want to know about dark spots and scarring. There's a difference between dark spots and scarring. Dark spots are exactly what they sound like, just dark spots on your face, whereas scarring is literally, they both are exactly what they sound like. Scarring is, some type of indentation into your face. It can be over your face. So some people, and myself included, wanted to know, when you get to the point that your face is scarring from acne, are there any type of, over-the-counter prescription DIY type of things you can do to your face, or is that something that you should just leave to professionals?
I don't think that when it comes to scarring, so the staining, that kind of scar, yes, you can try with over-the-counter stuff. When it comes to actual ice pick scars, box scars, rolling scars, the indented scars, or hypertrophic, which are the raised ones, creams are not going to help with that. They just won't. I wish. But then that's when the interventions from the dermatologist would come into play with lasers and other modalities.
Now, I'm sure dermatologists love having all these people come. Actually, you know what's shocking? I was about to say I'm sure dermatologists love having all these people come to them for their skincare needs. However, what I should have mentioned earlier, she said only 10% of people who have skin issues actually seek help from professionals. That's crazy that the other 90% are just like, well, I can pretty much figure it out on my own. Now, not everyone has the money to go seek professional help for skincare. Some people don't even have, we can't even go to the doctor if we have cough. So I can totally understand that, but it's just so crazy to me, because I feel like we're all just so big on our skin that it's just like, you would think more than 10%. But anyway, I'm sure dermatologists do love the people who come to see them, but what can you do to your skin so that you don't have to get to the point of having to go see a dermatologist? Because that's usually, when you don't have any other options, so you got to go see that dermatologist because you've tried everything else to your face and none of it's working, and you want to know, how can I cure the issues that I have on my face? So what treatments would you recommend?
So cleansing, once to twice a day, preferably twice a day in the morning, and then at night once you've removed all your makeup, which is a must. You can't go to sleep with your makeup, so removing the makeup, cleaning it out, so twice a day cleansing. And then using products that are going to help keep the pores unclogged. So not just by removing the dirt, but actually removing this extra dead layer of the skin that forms, that can sometimes overform and clog up the pores. So again, things with glycolic acid, alpha hydroxy acids, perhaps with retinol, which does a similar purpose in a different way. So that's kind of preventing and keeping things nice and open and unclogged. If a pimple actually forms, then treating it with medicated creams such as benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid. That's something you can start with. ROCHE-POSAY makes the Effaclar line that has a combination of salicylic and benzoyl peroxide, a kit of kind of 3 ingredients. If that doesn't work, then seeing the dermatologist pretty early on. You give it, give it a little bit of time, and it's a slow process. It's not something that's going to necessarily happen and get cured overnight. It can take several weeks. But if they are very inflamed and cystic and painful, you want to see a dermatologist as soon as possible to intervene with prescription treatments to prevent permanent scarring from happening.
Isn't this a question that we all want to know? What causes acne?
It's pores. It's a multifactorial process. The pores are clogging. Genetics is very important there. Are you prone to them or not? Hormones, stress, diet, and then dirt and environmental factors.
So this is just a little blurb from her here on the low-fat dairy that I thought, maybe I should just slide in here because, again, I was a little taken aback when she said that about the low-fat dairy. So
and that's I think the low-fat dairy, that's something that's been shown in research. It's the low-fat and the non-fat more so than the whole milk and the whole dairy that may be associated with acne.
I kind of feel like people think acne is this type of, puberty thing. We all go through it. You'll get past it. But a lot of us are adults who have acne, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know what is going on. Why am I 30 years old and I'm having all these breakouts on my face? So what's going on with adult acne?
Good question. We don't know. We have noticed in the recent years or decades that we're seeing much more adult acne than we ever used to see. And there's certain hypotheses about why that's happening. Acne is a multifactorial process. So there's a lot of factors that determine who is going to get acne and who won't. Mm-hmm. Number one is genetic, environmental factors, stress. Stress is a huge one. And then diet, which has been a controversial topic in dermatology for decades. The current thinking is that the reason why we're seeing much more adult acne than we ever used to is, number one, the environment, the stress. We seem to be leading much more stressful lives than we used to. Mm-hmm. And I have patients that, have moved to New York and they inevitably say, the moment I moved to New York, my acne got worse, my eczema got worse, everything skin-related seems to get worse when people come to New York. Does it have to do with smog? Maybe. Does it have to do with stress? We lead much busier, more fast-paced lives in New York than we do probably anywhere else in the U.S., so stress may be related to that. And then the big question is diet. The Western diet. Is it bad for skin and for acne? And the current thinking is yes. We used to think from studies that were done in the 60s that showed that perhaps there's really no correlation between diet and acne. But the more recent studies in the recent years have shown that actually starchy, sugary food, as well as low-fat dairy, may actually increase risk of acne. So the Western diet may have something to do with it as well, and maybe hormones that are being put into food for mass production of food, because like we talked about, hormones are a big factor in the pathophysiology of acne. So it's a multifactorial process, but the thought is we do know that we're seeing much more adult acne, and it's probably a combination of the diet, the stress, the environment that's causing that to happen.
Would you recommend switching up products, or once you find something that works for you, should you stick to it?
So that's a great question. I get asked that question a lot. The truth is we don't know, and everybody's skin is different. So I have patients that are using the same product, the same cleanser and the moisturizer and the makeup for 10 years, and they're fine with it. And then there are those that become sensitive to certain products, either after using it for a few days or after using it for several years. Their skin changes. We age, or as I like to say, we get wiser. Things change. Our skin changes, our hormones change, and so does our reaction of our skin to certain products. So I would say if you are okay with if your skin likes what you're using, there is no reason to change it. But if you notice that with time, you're either getting more acne breakouts, or it's now drying you out, or it's causing you to get rashes, you may be becoming allergic to it, then it's time to switch. But it's not something you have to do if your regimen is working for you.
What would you recommend anyone who has combination skin do to their skin to help treat it?
So you may have to treat different parts of your face differently when it comes to your skincare routine. That's often the case with people with combination skin. And it's difficult to do that. But you want to try to minimize the oil production here, but not decrease the oil production completely. So not strip away oils from your skin completely, because as a compensatory mechanism, as a defense, your skin is going to try to produce more oil if you're trying to strip down the oil here and moisturize here. So there are certain products that you can use that are made for combination skin.
What's the best type of sunscreen specifically for someone who has oily skin?
Yes, so sunscreens, there are several types of, the active ingredients in sunscreens are the sunscreens themselves, and there's two different types. There's the physical blockers, which are your zinc oxide and your titanium dioxide, and then there's the chemical blockers, which are those usually with very long names, and those block the sun by a chemical reaction actually happens on top of your skin that doesn't allow the UV rays to penetrate into the skin. Those are the active ingredients. The second part is the inactive ingredients. So what's put in there? Was it a fragrance? Is it an oil? Is it a preservative? An emollient? What else is in there? It's usually that causes the clogging, the inactive ingredients, not necessarily the type of sunscreen itself. So if you're prone to acne, using an oil-free sunscreen is very important, and maybe even go a step further and use a sunscreen that has mattifying properties as well. But using an oil-free one is the most important thing. In terms of whether chemical blockers or physical blockers clog more, I think there's different schools of thought on that. I think it's more the oil that is found in the sunscreens that will cause the clogging. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to allergic reactions, then we look at the particular sunscreens. And the ones that are hypoallergenic are the physical ones, the zinc oxide and the titanium dioxide. But when it comes to acne and clogging of the skin, it's usually those inactive ingredients. So the easy answer is sticking to an oil-free sunscreen would be the way to go.
So there's a lot out there about what not to eat if you want to prevent acne, but is there anything you suggest that someone does add to their diet to prevent or help fight acne?
So that's been diet and acne and skin in general has been a controversial topic in the field of dermatology for decades, yes. Literally for decades.
Yes.
So we had studies that came out in the 60s that said, well, we don't think there's really an association between acne and diet. So we've been telling patients that there probably isn't. There are other factors that kind of influence whether you're going to get an acne or not, a breakout or not, but we thought diet wasn't one. And now the recent studies in the past years have shown that basically there are certain foods that correlate with causing acne, those being the starchy, sugary foods, so those with a very high glycemic index, glycemic index that's going to make the insulin, now you're a nutritionist, so you'll know that makes that insulin spike right away, right after you ingest it. In layman's terms, the starch, sugary foods. Okay. Those have been found to increase your chance of getting acne. And then low-fat dairy, interestingly. So not whole milk, not whole dairy, but low-fat and non-fat are thought for some reason to cause more of an insulin spike.
Why would low-fat milk cause acne?
It has to do with, so we don't know, one of the thoughts is that there's a growth factor that's more present in milk that's been stripped of fat that makes a quicker insulin spike.
Okay, interesting.
And then increases perhaps insulin resistance, and that somehow that's related to causing more acne breakouts. So that's the current thinking. We don't really know, to answer your question, is there something that makes acne better? That we don't know. So we know that we've identified these two things that perhaps make acne worse, but we haven't identified things yet that necessarily make acne better, that we can use to treat acne. There are certain hypotheses about vitamins, such as zinc, which has anti-inflammatory properties that perhaps makes acne better, whether it's put into a skincare product or taken as a supplement. Okay. But as a supplement, some studies have shown that it really has to be taken in very, very high amounts to actually make a difference. And unfortunately, zinc can make you nauseous if you take it in high doses. So it may not be able to be tolerated. So we don't know if there are foods that make acne better, but we have identified the starchy, the high glycemic index foods and the low-fat dairy as perhaps exacerbating acne. But it's a multifactorial process. So you could be a person that genetically has no predisposition to acne and eat chocolate all day long. You're probably going to become a diabetic, but you may not get acne. Right. But if you're prone to them, you'll be more likely.
Now, I don't have eczema, so I didn't know much about this. I didn't get that many questions about it, but I know there are people out there who have it, so I'm just going to go ahead and insert this little blurb right here about what you can do to help care for your skin, not only your face, but your body, just your skin in general if you have eczema.
So, number one thing is not to over dry your skin by using harsh products. So when it comes to the body, using harsh soaps that are going to remove those natural oils that you need for your skin barrier to remain intact. So using a mild soap, not necessarily showering every day, which a lot of people don't want to hear. And if you do have to shower every day, maybe just use the soaps in areas where you accumulate more dirt and smells and you need to really use. But the other areas, just let the water kind of drip down. Don't necessarily be rubbing every part of your body with a soap because you will remove the oils and you'll more likely get an eczema flare. So starting with gentle skincare, whether it comes to acne or eczema, is really important. not stripping skin of things that it needs, whether it's oils, whether it's bacteria. These are all things, and we do have billions of bacteria living on our skin that we need, both to protect us from eczema flares, to protect us from acne, and for all sorts of harsh environmental factors. So gentle skincare with mild soaps, both when it comes to the face and when it comes to the body, and then moisturizing. Moisturizing is very important, not just for eczema, it's important for acne too. Because if we dry out our skin too much with toners and astringents, as a compensation, the skin is smart and it's going to try to produce kind of more oils as a reaction to that. So moisturizing is important for acne too, but in that case, an oil-free moisturizer would be better. So gentle skincare with very mild soaps, not necessarily harshly cleaning off dirt every day from the skin, allowing some of the good bacteria to stay on the skin, and then moisturizing properly, and usually with things that are cream-based. So moisturizers that are cream-based rather than lotions are better because they have less water and alcohol.
Gotcha.
And there are products out there that have ceramides. So our skin barrier is comprised of proteins and lipids and fats, including ceramides. So there are moisturizers made especially for eczema-prone skin that try to bring those ceramides and components of the skin barrier back to your skin because genetically you may be predisposed to having less of those. La Roche-Posay makes a great one called Lipikar. That's an excellent fragrance-free moisturizer that's made for sensitive skin, eczema-prone skin, but can really be used on anybody.
Now, this wasn't really a question that anyone asked or any of the other influencers asked, but I thought it was interesting because she is a dermatologist. What is one thing that she wished people would stop doing? You know, people obviously come to her because they're having issues with their skin. Is there anything that people are doing themselves to their skin that, you know, is harming them and she wishes they would just stop doing? The answer might surprise you, especially those of you who like watching videos on this.
Maybe, well, when it comes to acne, trying to squeeze them out. You know, if it's a little blackhead that's right on the surface of your skin and you've steamed yourself in the shower and your hands are clean, it's okay.
Okay.
But if you get that inflamed, cystic, juicy one and you're trying to freeze it, all you're going to do is rupture it underneath the surface and cause a scar. So I would say that, and overly showering with harsh soaps when it comes to eczema and drying out the skin. Even when it comes to acne, trying too hard to remove those oils with harsh soaps and toners.
Pores. They're an annoying part of the face, but we've got them and we got to know how to treat them. So how do you minimize pores and how can you treat them to keep them clean?
Great question. I get that question a lot, and I like how you asked it, to help minimize the look of the pores.
Right.
You're not necessarily going to minimize the pores. It's very, very difficult to do that. There's all sorts of advances in laser technology, and we're trying to use that to try to minimize those pores, and it's still difficult, even with the newest technology. But helping minimize the look of the pores is something that we can try to work on until we figure out how to actually minimize them. And that you do by keeping the pores clean. If your pore is large, there's a large surface area for dirt to get stuck in.
Totally.
Once you get the pores to get clogged with keratin usually, whether it's dirt or keratin that gets produced by your oil glands and it gets stuck in the and forming maybe blackheads or whiteheads, that you can try to prevent and treat by keeping the skin clear. So several steps. Number one, keeping it clean. So using a cleanser, not too harsh one, a gentle cleanser twice a day to keep them clean. And then there's certain mild acids that are put into different kinds of products, moisturizers or toners that contain mild acids like alpha hydroxy acid or glycolic acid, maybe even salicylic more if you're acne prone, that help kind of remove that dead layer of the skin that has built up on top of your pores to unclog those pores and to make them appear smaller.
I'm going to go ahead and insert this little part here about retinol.
So retinol is a very concentrated...
I tried it once and I don't know. I
Did it dry you out? So some people get too dry.
Yeah.
So it's a very concentrated vitamin A is what retinol is. It comes in an over-the-counter version that's put into wrinkle creams and acne creams called retinol. And then retinoids, which are prescription, that are much more concentrated, that are much more drying as well. Maybe more effective, but more drying as well. So it's always better to start with an over-the-counter retinol but always use moisturizer with it. So
Okay.
La Roche-Posay makes one called Redermic, which has retinol in there, but it also has moisturizing properties so you don't get dried out. And you can try using it 2 to 3 times a week initially. Let your
Okay.
skin get used to it. Maybe even mix it with another moisturizer if it's still drying, and then work it up to every night if you can.
Yeah, so it's a night product. You don't want to go out
It's
into
a
the
night
sun
product.
with it,
Yes,
right?
because the sun, it makes you sun sensitive, it makes you more prone to a sunburn, and the thought is that maybe sun even inactivates retinol. So
Okay.
it just makes it inefficient.
And speaking of retinol, I did get some questions on accutane. Y'all know what I'm saying. She did touch on that, and I did not know just how serious, I guess is the word I'm looking for, of a treatment that really is. That requires 6 months of your time. You cannot take it or go through that process when you are pregnant, because most, if not all, studies that they have done have shown that it will cause birth defects. They're so serious about not taking it when you're pregnant that you need 2 forms of birth control if you are going to take it, whether it's the female be on birth control and you use condoms, or you be on birth control and you just don't have sex. And you also have to go once a month to see the doctor. So it is a very, it's very extensive. You have to be very dedicated to go through with it. But I have seen some cases where it really works. I will insert this YouTuber right here who I'm pretty sure just got done with her 6-month, journey of this. However, she did also say that, there are some cases where it doesn't turn out the best. So it really is, case by case, and that it is something that she, that's usually her last resort when it comes to her clients. But, I just thought I would add that little part in there. That's pretty much it for the questions. I probably have enough footage to do like a part 2. So let me know if you want to see another part 2 of her answering some questions. If you're wondering like why it looks so weird with the way it's cut off, she was talking to a whole bunch of different people. So I didn't want to have to deal with the whole, like putting that in and putting that in, so I just literally just made it all about the doctor. But the first is this Double Repair Moisturizer UV. This is all from La Roche-Posay, but these are things that they gave us a whole goodie bag of items, but these are just things that I feel like I'm gonna test out for my oily skin, and after a while, I will certainly let you know how that is going for me. But I have been wearing this one in the foundation hunts that I've been uploading this week. I haven't had any issues so far with it. I don't have any issues with the smell. Usually my biggest thing is like I can't stand, well, besides the flashback and the grayness there, I can't stand the smell of sunscreen, so that's usually why I'm lazy and I don't wear it. But I haven't had any issues with this one yet. This will all be linked in the description box down below. This is their Purifying Foaming Gel Cleanser for oily skin. I'm really digging this one. It's the one that I've been using at night recently. I'm kind of shying away from cleansers that have, actual scrub type ingredients to its formula, so that it's actually scrubbing your skin. That is also something that she said that you should probably move away from scrubs on your face because they're doing a little bit more damage than they are good for you. So I am loving this at the moment. Cleansing, makeup removing, purifying one. I've never really been big on these, but I did want to give this one a try because I believe this one is also for oily skin. I don't see that. Maybe I was told that, I don't know. I did just want to give this one a try, and I was really kind of surprised. I used the Olay facial wipes, whatever that's called. I put it in my last skincare video. I use a cleanser, and then I used this, and I realized just how much makeup I still had on my face, and I was just like, wow, okay. So I have added this to my routine, and one of my subs, when I showed this on Instagram story, said that she loved this. So when you guys recommend things, like you're like, oh, I tried that, I love that, it makes me feel a little better when I try it on myself. What else? This is their Clarifying Oil-Free Cleansing Towelettes. These are not makeup remover wipes. These are just cleansing towelettes. They said these are best for if you're going to the gym or anything like that. Just throw it in there if you can't shower right away once you're done. These are nice. You just kind of wipe yourself down. So really, if you're going to the beach or just anywhere where you're going to be hot, you're going to be sweating, anything like that, just to kind of, all up in my hair, just to kind of, give your body a little cleanse, especially for anyone who has body acne, specifically back acne, you know, acne on your back. So I have just been using this even on days where I don't wear makeup. It's starting to get warmer here in New York, so, you know, I might just put this over my face for a nice little pickup, you know, nice little cleansing throughout the day. And last but not least is their Intense Repair Moisturizing Cream, I believe, for, yeah, extra dry skin, body, and face. I'm not about to put this on my face. I wouldn't put really any lotion on my face, but I have been trying this on my body. Although I do have combo oily skin on my face, I find that my body is rather dry, so I am going to give this a try. Well, I have been giving this a try, and see how this goes. I was kind of surprised that she said she's not really here for toner. I just wish I could remember why she said she's not here for toner. So that is it for this video. I feel like I learned a lot from this boot camp, and I feel like this was the closest I could get to bringing you all along with me. Just because I feel like this is information that people should know. And, you know, like I said, only 10% of people actually go see a dermatologist, so, you know, why not share this information for free on what it's one of those days, what a dermatologist would say if you guys were the ones who were asking her these questions. And that is pretty much it. So make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye. At a slant, like the entire video. Okay. This big ass lab coat. This is small too. Like, that should let you know just how tiny I actually am. Bruh. Like, what? Can you even see the part that says, ow, my hair got stuck behind me. She's not that big on showering every day. Someone said before that they didn't shower for 2 weeks, and everyone else in the room was like, and then the dermatologist was like, I don't bathe my children every day, so egg on everyone else's face.